Professor Bob Cardillo, former mayoral candidate in Utica. And welcome to the show, Bob. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Good to have you in
Nice.
again. You were saying that
morning.
yes, it was a tough choice for you last night between the Democratic debate and you're a big Mets fan too, huh?
Well, no, I'm a Yankee fan, but I'm a big baseball fan.
Okay,
so I was Cubs, Mets.
That's right. That's right. And the Cubs advanced, of course.
Yes, absolutely.
The Mets unfortunately have to play one more game against the Dodgers, and their villain Chase Utley will play tomorrow night. Is the resumption of that series? I think it's is it Greinke for the Dodgers?
Probably Greinke and
pitching?
DeGrom.
Jacob DeGrom for the Mets. Yeah, so that's interesting.
All I know is I wish I was in Chicago last night.
Yeah, it's great. Have you ever been to Wrigley Field before?
Yes.
I was there once too.
I have once.
Yeah.
And it was. But I can't imagine how much fun they're having. They're still having fun there.
Yeah. Little fun at the presidential debate last night among the Democratic candidates there. We've been playing some clips from some of the candidates, and we've been speculating that a couple of guys may not make it to the next day, so to speak. There, the guys on the fringes there, Webb and Chafee, were kind of left out to dry.
Well, Lincoln Chafee, I felt sorry for him. I mean, Webb can handle himself. I mean, he's been around. But Lincoln and Webb kept trying to get into it, saying, "Look, I'm here too." You know?
Right.
But Lincoln Chafee was with that one comment that he made about, well, I just had got when it was the vote on. I forgot which vote it was, but it was a vote. I think it was a vote on the war, or whatever vote it was.
Yes.
So I just got here, and my father had the seat, and I'm going, "Oh no,
Yeah.
this is not going very well. Just you need to be quiet."
Yeah, he voted the wrong way, and Anderson Cooper, who moderated the event, kept kind of challenging him. Well, what do you mean? So you cast the wrong vote because you were
just got there
because you were new at the game, and he kept saying, "Give me a break." You know, my father had just died, and he didn't come off very well.
I felt sorry for him. I mean, it looked like, why is he there?
Yeah, and he only got again something we brought up. He only got 9 minutes and 2 seconds to speak yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah, I was also wondering about that. The guys on the ends, Chafee and Webb, got less time to speak than the three in the middle there, and I wonder if they could have a bone of contention saying, hey, gee, I would have liked to have been standing in the middle like Hillary Clinton was. Did they determine sort of the lineup of people visually, or was that a blind draw?
The entire thing is staged by polling. And if you recall, the same thing happened in the Republican debate. I mean, Donald Trump was in the middle.
Gotcha.
And in the second debate, they moved people around based on Ben Carson, Carly Fiorina picking up in the polls.
Yeah.
And if somebody is asked a question, the way it works is if somebody is asked a question, they answer the question, and they bring somebody else's name up within their answer,
right,
the other person has the opportunity to respond. So obviously, the two biggest ones were going to be Hillary and Bernie Sanders.
Almost in collusion, bringing each other's name up on purpose.
Yeah.
So
what I thought was interesting, I don't know if anybody caught it, but Jim Webb and Bernie Sanders were doing kumbaya through the whole thing. They were kind of hugging each other. I'm going, this is cool.
Yeah.
Who are they shilling for, you know? So
yeah, and then Hillary extended her hand to Bernie Sanders at one time for the big handshake when Bernie Sanders came up with the big line of the night about the emails there, too.
Yes, absolutely. That was like, you want a savior? You just found him.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, it was actually pretty classy. And
Bernie Sanders to do.
I do think people want to talk about issues.
Yeah. I also thought Bernie Sanders did pretty well last night, although I thought he made a big mistake when they asked each candidate to describe the biggest national security risk, and he said global warming. I thought that was a bad response. And I don't know whether he got confused at that moment.
No,
said
I
the
don't
wrong
think
thing.
he got confused. I think that's part of his socialistic tendency background.
Right.
I thought the interesting question was the question about capitalism. And I find that interesting because I talk about that a lot in my classes. Like, what are we as a society? Are we capitalists? Are we socialists? Are we a hybrid? And then Bernie's comparing the United States to Denmark.
Right.
It's like, okay, it's Denmark.
Right.
How many people are there? And he said, I think Anderson said, well, there's only 5 million people in Denmark.
Right.
You know, so I thought the interesting thing was the contrast between that debate and the Republican debate.
Yeah, we're talking with Bob Cardillo, by the way, the political science professor at Utica College, here on the Talk of the Town at 100.7 FM WUTQ. If you have any questions for Bob, feel free to call in 624-0870 or text us at 623-0373. And the aspect of that interested you then?
The contrast was that it was entertainment on the Republican
Yeah.
Really, with Donald Trump being there and all of the back and forth between them, the candidates, and the number of them setting up on that stage,
right,
as opposed to this
issues-oriented
it was issues-oriented, but there were like rookies on the stage. A lot of rookies on the stage. And really, and this isn't a partisan either way. It's just they were two totally different debates. It was the Donald Trump show.
Circus.
Well, okay, it's a polite way. It was Donald Trump show circus.
Right.
As opposed to this debate. And that one put you to sleep, and the other one kept thinking about when the next guy's going to get the next jab.
Yeah, so who were the winners and losers last night? I thought Martin O'Malley did okay. I thought that the two guys on the ends probably will have to wave bye-bye to the whole process shortly here.
I think Hillary did nothing but help herself. I mean, she's clearly a great debater.
Yep.
I mean, she pretty much handed it to Barack Obama in their debates in 2008. I think O'Malley did well. The only thing he smiled a lot. I mean,
is that a bad thing?
Well, he didn't, even when he was making the emphasis on certain issues, he just had that. I thought he did well. I mean, but I don't think anybody is going to distance themselves from her.
Right.
I don't see it.
That's interesting you mentioned. I've heard in past that, some reports show that folks don't like leaders that smile.
No, they want you to be tough.
Yeah.
It's really funny because in the mayoral campaign 4 years ago, when I ran in the primary.
In Utica,
right. I did all this issue-oriented stuff, and then I lost the primary, but I was still in the race because I had the Republican and the independent endorsements. So I was on the Piersma show. I think it was 2 days after the primary or something. And I was different. I really kept saying what I thought. I wasn't guarded. I just said, here's what I think. And somebody called up and said, where's that Bob Cardillo been? We wanted to hear that.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, because I think people really want to. It's kind of like the Donald Trump thing. Think about it. I mean, what he says is exactly what he thinks, and it's coming out. And there are a lot of people that just want to hear that now because politicians are so guarded with what they say and how they say it that it's refreshing when somebody just comes out and says exactly what they think.
Yeah, it's almost like a football team playing safe toward the end of a game instead of continuing to pass the ball when downfield when that's the best way to go about it, right?
Yeah, pretty interesting. Some of the early polls and numbers are showing Bernie Sanders being the favorite in last night's debate, but Hillary Clinton very close behind. They start looking at some other interesting aspects of the debate as well. Like former Republicans, three of them, and handshakes. There was one with Clinton and Sanders. Trump only mentioned 2 times during the debate, and Joe Biden not mentioned at all. So these are things that they look at.
Well, it's interesting. Talking about Joe Biden, if Joe Biden is sitting back thinking about what he's going to do and watching the debate, he is a very good debater. He's also been around a long time. But he had to take a long, hard look at Hillary. And she was very good. I mean, whether you thought she won or not is immaterial. She was good. She didn't do anything to hurt herself.
Right.
And if I'm Joe Biden, I have to sit back and think, now, who do I take from here? Where are the numbers? Look, politics, unfortunately, is just a numbers game.
Right.
And that's, I think, got to be the big question.
Yes. In the polls, by the way, I was looking into that research last night. The 3 guys who were the lesser-known guys up there last night, O'Malley, Webb, and Chafee, all have less votes in the polls than Biden does, and Biden's not even in the race yet.
Right.
So,
well, and that makes sense because none of those gentlemen really picked up at all.